Bum 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 ba-dum bum ba-da-bop-bop. The Holocaust is considered as one of the worst events to happen in modern history, and it is important to consider whether the Allies should or should not have bombed Auschwitz during 1942 to 1945. Most historians such as K.J. Mason and Peter Haynes would agree that the Holocaust was a very real and horrible event that killed many Jews unnecessarily. However, the question begs on how and whether the Allies could bomb Auschwitz. The first use of bombing originated in Italy in 1911 to 1912 and was first practiced under the command of General Giulio Douhet. And during 1915 and World War I, planes started to be used as offensive operations, with Germany flying more than 100 strategic bombing raids over England, leading to the death of 1,400 people. To a high extent, the Allies should not have bombed Auschwitz through 1942 to 1945. Different points will discuss why they should not have bombed Auschwitz, and in contrast, why the Allies should have bombed Auschwitz. It is clear that if the Allies bombed Auschwitz during 1942 to 1945, the outcome would have been catastrophic. The Holocaust is considered one of the most horrific events to take place in modern history. Why shouldn't have the Allies bombed Auschwitz? Well, it is more complicated than that. Itself was constructed of three major camps: Auschwitz I, Auschwitz II, Berenka, the extermination part of the camp, and Auschwitz III, Monowitz, which are all discussed, especially Berenka in How It Was Possible, edited by Peter Haynes, in which he provides information detailing how Berenka contained 4 massive gas chambers and crematoria. It also discusses how Monowitz was the labour aspect of the camp. This shows a plethora of reasons why the Allies should not have bombed Auschwitz. As you can see, the camp as a whole was filled with Jews who were not destined for extermination yet, and by bombing Auschwitz, the Allies would have been aiding in the Nazi effort to exterminate Jews. Not to mention, there would be less survivors of Auschwitz to tell the story of life in the camp. Alongside this, Haynes also discusses how people, aside from the Jewish people, were in the Auschwitz camp. He informs the reader that in February 1943, the first transport of German gypsies arrived in Auschwitz, suggesting they were kept in an unfinished part of the camp in the Berenka extension of Auschwitz. This further shows the impact the Allies would have had if they had bombed Auschwitz, and it would not have been positive. Furthermore, if Allies did bomb Auschwitz during 1942 to 1945, the outcome would have been terrible.
If the Allies bombed Auschwitz, the possibilities of what might have happened with the rest of the war could be limitless. Historian Peter Haynes discusses how the Allies knew about Auschwitz and the horrors that they were committing for some time after its initial construction. Due to this, President Roosevelt might have ordered the bombings of the gas chambers at Auschwitz-Birkenau, but he would have been aware of the political risks and refrained from acting. Because of this, it shows how the Allies could have bombed only one aspect of the camp, the section that held the gas chambers, essentially preventing any further gassing occurring at Auschwitz. K.J. Mason discusses in their book titled Republic to Reich by how, June 1941, Auschwitz also became an extermination camp. With this new information, it can be suggested that the Allies could have attempted bombing Auschwitz before it became an extermination camp, as it would slow down production of the extermination camp and prevent the death of 1.1 million Jews. Overall, if the Allies had bombed Auschwitz during 1942 to 1945, there could have been more lives saved than lost.
The Allies could have either chose to bomb or not bomb Auschwitz during 1942 to 1945. By looking at readings from K.J. Mason and Peter Haynes, it can be concluded that if either event transpired, there would be both benefits and losses from each. One could consider the idea of bombing the camp as a choiceless choice. Thank you for listening. Here are my references. I hope it wasn't too intense. Go make a cuppa. Thanks. Sav.